Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Happy Tuesday, everyone. You guys know why we're here, right? We're here because we love you, and we're here because we love Queen Sugar. And today is season five's third episode. I think it's called Mid-March 2020. And yeah, it's a weird naming convention. I wish I think, they named the episodes according to the timing of when the pandemic really took place, but I think it would have been more special to give the episodes beautiful names like they normally do, right? Like they could have named some of the episodes, just in conjunction with what the mood, what the atmosphere, what the temp, was at the time. Like this episode could have been named Panic or, Despair. Something like that. Just Hope. I don't know. You guys get what I'm saying. It could have been a little bit more creative than that, but yeah, just anyway, I digress. Listen, so before I go any further, you guys have hit me up, wanted to know what this lip gloss was. It is called Scarlet Superhero, and you can get it from Savad Beauty. You guys watch, I'm sure you watch My Twisted Life of Poetry. She actually has her own lip gloss line, and it's called SIVAD Savad Beauty. Check it out. And this is called Scarlet Superhero, and I really like it. It's so rich and thick, and it just lays beautifully. It's really, really a good formula. So you guys check that out. Also, I want to welcome all of my new subscribers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I want to thank everyone personally for continuing to engage down in the comments, because we really chatted up in the comments. It's pretty awesome, right? I think so anyway. So I love you guys. I thank you guys for always engaging. Some of you I haven't seen in a while because I haven't really been doing a lot of reviews. But, I'm kind of working through that whole process. Some shows that I wanted to review are like in this impromptu hiatus. It's a whole big thing. We're not going to talk about it now. What we're here to talk about today is Queen Sugar. Okay. And I feel like this was a good episode because anytime you have a show that, I won't say trigger, because I feel like people are using trigger maybe a little bit too much right now, but it's a useful, viable word, I guess. But something that causes you to feel those, like you can completely empathize. You can completely empathize with the actor, what the actor is emoting in the scene. And that was something I was feeling throughout this whole episode. But we're going to talk about it now. We're going to talk about Raw last. But first we're going to talk about Charlie, her and Micah, and what's going on with them. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Hollywood and Vi. We're going to go into Nova, and then we're going to do Raw. And I always like to end with the person who ends the episode, and Ra ended the episode. So let's get into this, right? Charlie is continuing to really, really move To me, she's moving in a very mayoral type of way. She's being very, very mayoral. She's a councilwoman. I think she's the first black councilwoman. Um, but she's giving me mayor teas, and she's actually being a lot more effective, a lot more responsible, a lot more empathetic than we've seen some of the governors of these states and mayors and so on, senators and so on and so forth. So kudos to Charlie. She is conducting Zoom meetings with the rest of the councilmen and councilwomen. Of course, you got Councilman Jerk, and he's a black guy, and he wants to do all of this pushback about people not wanting to stay in, and it's getting old, and how much longer is this gonna take, and the businesses, what are we gonna do about the businesses and all of that. Like, you guys are all supposed to be figuring this out together. Like, can you come with solutions? Why is it you keep acting like Charlie? And maybe she the head of the council. I don't know. But he keeps acting like she's not doing her job. I'm like, what is your job, sir? Like, what are you doing? What you working on? Like, well, I mean, what are some things that you getting done? I don't get it. But he also brings up the fact that he drove past Vi's place and he saw some scuttlebutt in there, some moving around, some movement in it, and they supposed to be closed. And she was like, what you need to do is mind your own business, sir, and get out of Vi's prize pies and Donna business, okay? That's what you need to do. And he was like, oh, I think I got to go. Yeah, you been gone. You never showed up, sir. You were never here. Okay. And, she took a sip of coffee. One of the ladies that was left on the line, she was like, oh, I could use a cup of coffee. And Charlie was like, who says this is coffee, baby? And then they panned down to her furry slippers. I was like, girl, welcome to quarantine. Then she goes over and she talks with Aunt Vi, and they're sitting there in the diner, and they got their masks on, and she was telling Vi, she needs to be careful because they closing some businesses down. I was like, oh, they being that diligent? Because I feel like now they've been locked down, and this quarantine thing has been happening now for some 6 weeks. So from last episode to this episode, the time span has been basically 6 weeks, right? And, Vi is doing everything she can to keep her head above water. And Charlie just wants to make sure that she's following all the protocols that have been put down, sent down because they shutting down people's businesses. I was like, well, this is NOLA. This is not, this is St. Joe's. This is Louisiana. This ain't Georgia. Because, I think we probably had like 2 weeks of very strict rules. And it's been a wild donkey ride ever since. You know what I mean? Mr. Toad's wild ride ever since. But, and Ava is a little defensive, but at the same time, she understands where Charlie is coming from. But you guys know how the border loans move. The border loans are giving. They're givers. They're charitable. They're encouragers. They're uplifters. More than land and more than just being a beautiful group, a beautiful family all together. What was passed down to them through their mom and their dad was this indomitable strength, to support, to uplift, and to love, and to to be loving, to be empathetic, to be kind, to be compassionate. You know what I mean? And nobody does it as well as the Borderlones. And Vi being the matriarch of this family, she's continuing on with that. And she's still being safe. She's still social distancing. She's still doing contactless delivery and all of these types of things. But she has made a decision that she's not going to let the food in her refrigerator go bad. No one's coming in and buying it. She's going to make care packages for people who are out of work, and Hollywood is delivering them, right? They also kid a little bit about Micah coming home and how when Nova came home from college, she gave Ernest hell. You know, he thought he was going to have to kill her because she was grown. You know what I'm saying? She was smelling herself. You know, you been by yourself. You been, following your own rules, doing your own thing. And you got a half a teaspoon of adulthood under your belt. And you think you can stand up in here and talk to me any old kind of way. I'm just letting you know that when Micah get home, it might be a lot like that. And Charlie was like, oh no, Mike and I don't have that type of relationship. I was like, girl. And he got scrotum and balls too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, sis, it's coming. So we see where Micah's at home. Micah's chilling. And he ate her out of house and home already. You know what I'm saying? Like it's summer vacation. And we in a full quarantine here. So why is you plowing through all of the food and the snacks and all this, that, and the third? Like, and on one hand, yeah, you're an adult. On the other hand, in terms of age, right? But then on the other hand, you are immature as hell because it's clear that, he's not taking it serious. But maybe like a lot of people, he felt like this too shall pass. But again, it's been more than 6 weeks. This alone lets you know. And, he's on social media. He gets it. And maybe social media is why he's not taking it that serious. But I don't know. When Michael left to go to school, he seemed more mature than he does now that he has been off to school and he's pledged. Like, y'all let me know if y'all see it or not. Like, maybe I'm judging. I don't know, child. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Well, anyway, he's surrounded by crumbs and stuff, and they've agreed until he can get tested that he's going to wear a mask. And I was like, oh, Charlie, yeah, I get it. He needs to wear a mask in the house. But sis, I hope you wiping everything down. Like, boys in general are gross. You know what I'm saying? Like, they be pulling on stuff and, holding one nostril and blowing stuff out. And you got to wipe it all down. Like, I don't know. You need to get that test for him ASAP, right? I saw her, later on when she goes into his room. Now, okay, so let me just say this. So, he's got to get a test, and then after the test, they don't have to wear the masks in the house anymore. And he tells her that she wants to know what he wants for dinner. Now, she just had this conversation with, like, I'm grown, you grown. Do you? I'm not stressing you, boo. But you ain't finna keep my house nasty. That's what you're not finna do. You're not finna keep my house nasty. You ain't finna be in here making no dishes for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not your maid. This ain't room service. But at the same time, she want to know what he wants for dinner. Whatever you make for yourself, he gonna have to eat. Right? Or he gonna have to go in there and make something other than a bunch of snacks, right? Anyway, I'm being difficult. But he tells her he can rather go out to hang out with friends. And just like that, you know what I'm saying? She got to draw the line in the sand and let him know, okay, I thought we talked about the fact that you're not doing no visiting because I don't need you to be going out there and bringing what's out there back in here. Right? And he was like, oh, yeah, okay, well, and she was like, who you going to see anyway? He grown, girl. You can't ask him that. Well, he's like, show ain't Kiki now. I don't know if I mentioned it or not. I may have talked about it in the comments only. that Kiki was kind of side-eyeing Micah when he was asking her about who that dude was at the smoothie stand. She was side-eyeing him like, your replacement. Well, sure enough, Kiki has broken up with him, y'all. And he seems like he might be upset, but not really. Like maybe he's not sure how to feel about it. Like, I mean, I think Kiki was his first, or he was her first, or she was his first. One of them. So I mean, he got to be feeling a type of way about it. But at the same time, he moving on. Later on, when she goes into his room to tell him that she going out, and he on the phone once again, looking all scruffy. He looked like he stank. He looked like he smelled like popcorn. You know what I'm saying? Corn chips. Like he may have been wearing that shirt for a minute. Anyway, he on the phone once again with this chick, and he talking about she looked like Scissor, and she's so in love with Charlie. And I was like, why are you in love with the councilwoman? It was odd. And this is what I was saying about Micah being a lot more mature when he left. He was just a lot different. And maybe because he was on his whole, stay woke, conscientious tip, having coming off the heels of being profiled by the police and things of that nature. I don't know. He just seems a lot more superficial, or something. Something is aloof with Micah. And the girl is practically obsessed. He puts her on speakerphone and she's going on and on about, oh, is that you? Charlie? I'm sorry, Miss Bordelon. That's really your voice? And Charlie's like, yeah, okay. Have a nice day. Goodbye. I was like, I'm with you, Charlie. It's a little odd. I know you're supposed to be flattered and everything, but typically, but you right the side out of that whole situation. Okay, so Hollywood and Vi, what they're doing is making prepped meals, salads and food and stuff, and they're delivering them. I don't know if she's charging for it. I think it's a community outreach type thing, where she is trying to keep the food from going bad by giving it to people so that they can eat it. I mean, people can't come in and order anymore. They aren't at that point yet, right? So like I said, the Borderlones are notorious givers, and we see where Hollywood gets a call from his mama, and he sent her a package, which she done left it on the porch for the next 14 days and, keep it quarantined. And her and Vi over talking, Vi hollering out and she hollering back. And it's a really cute moment. It's a really, really sweet moment. Hollywood has sent her a package of, things to keep her safe, vitamins and hand sanitizer and that type of thing. He's a good son. And they both are really, really good people for turning, their lemons into lemonade, right? We see where Hollywood has decided he gonna surprise Vi with a lovely meal, and he is FaceTiming with his mom, and she is really coughing. Like, she's really coughing bad, and it stops him in his tracks. And he obviously is worried. She just lives in Baton Rouge, but he's trusting her. And you guys know that our seniors are always fine. Doesn't matter what you ask them, they always fine, right? That's why we have to put our eyes on them, right? Then a little bit later on, we see where Hollywood is calling after his mama, and he can't get her on the phone. And he is concerned. He is worried. And he calls a friend of hers and asks her to go over and to check on her, which she does go, and she checks on her and finds that she says she's fine. She seems okay, right? It's it's something going on, right? Not only she could, be infected with COVID, but he feels it. He feels like something's not right. That's the most important thing. It could be COVID. She could just have a cold. You know what I'm saying? She could just need a nap. Like, it could be a bunch of stuff. But he feels like whatever it is isn't right. And later on, he is tag teaming, calling his mom and calling Prosper, calling his mom, calling Prosper. He wants to check on both of them. Neither one of them are answering. And he decides that, after talking with Vi, that he's going to get up first thing in the morning, go by, see Prosper, and he going to also go drive on up to Baton Rouge and check on his mama. And I second that emotion. Like, I wouldn't be able to rest. I would not be able to rest until I put my eyes on my parents. And I am fortunate where I live pretty close to my parents, because I'm a smotherer. And I can't tell you how much it bothers me that my sister lives in Florida. It really bothers me. Like, I'd rather her be here with the family. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like we're moving into super perilous times, and it's important to be together. It's not always possible, but yeah, I'd have been bust up in my mama house. First time I heard the pandemic was hitting, I would have went to my mama house. I would have went to my mama house to give it a thorough clean. I would have went to my mama house to make sure she had food, make sure she had toilet paper. Her and my dad make sure they had water, make sure they had everything they needed. I'd have bought groceries for my house. I bought groceries for my house and their house for a long time until I just couldn't do it anymore. And I cooked for them. Every few days I made sure that they had fresh food, because eating old food is one of the number one ways elderly people get sick. Little known facts. So, and they don't like to throw stuff away. Everything is still good. So you got to go and check the refrigerator, throw out that old stuff, rotten fruit, release it, let it go, and replace it with some new stuff. And yeah, I give it up to people. I give it up to people that can successfully navigate living a distance away from their parents. But your girl can't do it. Now, that's just me. But again, I am a smotherer. So that is Hollywood and Vibe. So Nova is enjoying being quarantined with Calvin. And it's a very lovely scene when we first see Nova. Calvin is sitting at the kitchen table having breakfast, and I think reading or something, and she comes in and kicks her leg over and gets between him and the table, and she's straddling him at this point, and they are kissing passionately, and it's just very intimate. These are the first few weeks of quarantine, so everybody's busy practicing baby making. And she's like, oh, I love being quarantined with you. I was like, 2 more weeks. Give it 2 more give it 2 more weeks before you end up wanting to bash him in his head. Give it 2 more weeks. But it's all sweet. It's all lovely. And they too are working together, having a sort of food pantry where they are passing out food to the elderly. And Prosper is one of those people. When she goes by his house to take him his food, and she goes inside and he's there, and it almost is like he's in this trance. He's busy watching the news. Um, and it's just bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. He's looking at New York, which you guys know in the beginning, New York was awful. Those morgue trucks and, you know, parks and stadiums full of beds, hospital beds and stuff like that. It's a lot to watch over and over and over again. And so when she walks in, it kind of startles him out of this news trance that he's in. And he takes his mask and just kind of holds it to his face. And he was short with her. He was curt with her. And he kind of just shoos around, just put the food down and go on. It's very unprosper like, right? Like Prosper is our he's kind of our patriarch here, right? They love Prosper and Prosper loves them. This is not like him. And so Nova goes home and she begins to really pray for Prosper. And Calvin comes in on her praying, and he tries to tip out, and she was like, no, come on. And he comes in and she was like, I'm praying for Prosper. And he was like, oh, that's nice. And she was like, yeah, I'm just praying that its loneliness and despair is lifted. And it was a powerful moment when she said that, because that's really what a lot of people struggle with. They struggled with this loneliness and this despair. And I think had we had a more conscientious, more responsible and accountable leadership in the White House, I think we would have been able to identify some of the things that we were going through as a country that we couldn't really put our finger on. Loneliness and despair. I think the loneliness may have been a given, but that despair portion of it, I think got lost in a lot of ways, right? For a lot of different reasons. Not only were we in a pandemic, but there's this whole racial overtone that hasn't been addressed on the show, but we know we were going through as a country, as a culture. And I can just imagine him watching that over and over again. And it takes a special person to see you in need and then go and take on the mantle of interceding. Come on now. Come on. Interceding on your behalf. Okay. Some people you will say, this is what I'm going through, or they will notice that you're going through something and they'll wonder about it and they'll go on. It's typical. It's common. I don't want to say typical like flip, but it's a common thing, right? Like, oh, okay, I hope she gets better, right? It's one thing to do that. It's another to take on the mantle of intercession, which is standing in the gap for a person who can't pray for themselves right now. You know what I'm saying? Like they're in a space where they may not even necessarily be aware of what's happening to them. But you intercede, you go to the Father and intercede on their behalf. It's heavy. It's gratifying. It's a blessing. It's wonderful. And you guys may remember, I can't remember the singer she had this song and she has this one line. She was on drugs real bad and she says, but I had a praying grandmother. And that's what a lot of our parents do. They intercede on our behalf. They're constantly praying for us. Well, this is what Nova is doing for Prosper. And it's in this moment that I realize what it is that kind of bothers me about Nova and Calvin. I think Nova and Calvin are in love. I think Calvin loves Nova and Nova loves Calvin. I believe that. And I think it's genuine. Okay. I think what bothers me about Nova and Calvin is that I feel like Nova is so rich and so textured, and she really embodies this black woman, powerful, strong black woman energy. She really embodies it. And I think there is a huge part of me that feels like Calvin doesn't deserve her. There, I said it. Again, I like Calvin. I think Calvin is very handsome. I thought that was a super sexy scene at breakfast. But here in this moment when she is acting as intercessor and prayer warrior, and she's meditating and she's in full Nova mode, it is acutely apparent to me that he is out of his league. He's out of his league. A woman like Nova should be standing next to a man who has kingdoms. Honestly. I'm just keeping it real. That's just how I feel. She's the living embodiment of a powerful black woman. She's a resource. She's a woman who produces, who multiplies. Come on now. Come on. Come on. That intercedes. Yeah. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all put it down below. Well, Nova, we get to see where Prosper is just going through the motions. He's got the TV on regularly. It just stays on. He's in the bed, and then he's in the chair, and he's eating a little prepackaged meal, and he goes and puts it up, and then he comes back in, gives a little stretch, and gets back in the bed, and the phone is ringing off the hook. It's Hollywood calling him back to back, trying to get him to answer, and he rolling Hollywood over. Right now, he is kind of stewing in his own despair, and he's getting more and more despondent. Well, the phone is ringing so much, he finally answers it, and he thinks it's Hollywood, but it's Nova. And Nova is calling to check on him, and of course, he's fine. He's fine. I'm fine. And she says, well, are you sure? And don't tell me that you're fine. And he was like, yeah, everything's okay, and you don't have to worry about me. And she said, well, I am worried about you. I'm concerned about you, and I want you to know that. And she says, but this is the moment where she does something amazing, right? It is amazing because a lot of people overlook it, especially when it comes to seniors. You do it with your children because you're trying to distract them, right? You're trying to keep them from whining, keep them from tearing up your toilet and messing up your house and all of that because they're bored. But a lot of people forget about that when it comes to seniors. And so she does something amazing, which is she involves him. And it was like the TV went off. I mean, it didn't go off, but it was like that droning sound of them reading the number of dead and all this stuff on the news just fades away. And he goes from this prostrate position or prone position, and he sits up because she wants him to give her some advice and maybe interview him for this article that she has coming up. And he sits up. And she was like, I could really use your help. And it's a technique that we use a lot with elderly patients who have Alzheimer's and dementia. You guys know I've done a little work with that. And it is involving them. It's taking their mind off of this gerbil wheel that they're on and getting them to focus on something else. And this is what she does. It is an amazing, amazing moment. It is a very, very small gesture. It takes very little time. But when I tell you, it means so much to involve and engage and get them off of this, like I said, this gerbil wheel of despair, of loneliness, of bad news. Like, I'm surprised they haven't all gone by there and, sat on the porch while he sat on the window, let him sit on the porch and they sit in the yard and talk to him. I'm surprised, but I think it's because of the restrictions are very strict right now. But it's a really, really good moment. I enjoyed it so much, and I hope that there are people out there that are watching this and they take some of these cues and use them in their own lives, just to kind of enrich a little bit more the elderly people around them, and get them involved. I know for my father, we do a lot of puzzles. We do a lot of task oriented things, and we make him feel like if we don't have his help, it won't get done. And it works out great. Okay, so let's talk about Ralph Angel, and then we're going to get off of here. So, the show opens with Ralph Angel in all of his beautiful blackness, listening to the radio, and just the stuff that's coming over the radio is just as bleak as what's coming over Prosperous TV. And they are talking about the seemingly inevitable demise of the sugarcane crop this season. Like, this season is basically a bust. And then we get to see Ralph Angel call his team, all the people that work with him throughout sugarcane season. We see him go out into the field and get a big old handful of dirt and smell it and look at it. He's a full-fledged farmer. And as much as it hurts him to see his crop go to waste or return back to the land, he reconciles it with himself. And he's grateful that he didn't harvest already, because a lot of people went ahead and harvested. And then when they took it to the sugarcane mill, the sugarcane mill could not process it because they're shut down. And so all of his sugarcane would have just gone to waste. This way, it has never been harvested, so it kind of returns back to the earth, so to speak. And I don't know if they till it over. I don't think so. But anyway, and then when he goes and he talks with Darla, she's coming from the grocery, and she's been in there fighting for the little bit of toilet paper and paper towels she could find, and little bits of food or whatever. And she tells him that she's got a Zoom meeting because she's been off for 3 weeks now. And they're supposed to have a meeting and tell them where they stand, with the company. And he expresses to her that he had to call people and let them know he wasn't going to be able to work them this harvest season, and that he was okay with it, that he had come to grips with it. And he seems fine, and it's a powerful moment for us because we've had 4 seasons of Ralph Angel, not really connecting with his the pain and the instability of farming. He wanted the farm, but it was just like one hit after another, and with every hit he was throwing temper tantrums and just being extra, right? And so here's a moment where we see maturity in Ralph Angel. I think we saw maturity last year to a certain extent, especially where he and Darla are concerned. But now we get to see him in his grown man space, and it looks good. Well, Blue is being schooled from home. He's online learning. Because of where they are off the grid, they do have Wi-Fi, but it's kind of iffy. And Blue and Darla share a computer. So she hops on a call after she helps Blue with his homework, with his math. And the next day, Ralph Angel checks on her and finds out that she's been let go. Basically, she's been furloughed. She'll get 2 weeks pay, and then she'll just have her benefits with no paycheck. And they were talking about some things that they could do, just to keep afloat. Like they had a little bit of savings, but it wasn't enough for the bills and stuff. And Ralph Angel immediately goes and he decides he's going to sell some equipment. So he sells a tractor to a guy, and it was kind of a contentious haggle a little bit. And they were a good distance apart, but Ralph Angel, he's a solid businessman now. He's a solid farmer. I'm just so happy with his character. I really am. And this is one of the reasons why I continue to give Darla a chance, and I continue to have hope where he and Darla are concerned, is because Ralph Angel is a different man. You remember season 1, episode 1, we came up on Ralph Angel stashing Blue in the park and going to rob a convenience store. And here he's in a place where his back is up against the wall. And instead of making these foolish choices, these temporary choices that have forever consequences, he's thinking about his family. He's thinking about everything that he has to lose, farm included, and he's doing what he has to do to keep him and his family's head above water. And so after some haggling, he wanted $8,500 for the tractor. He ends up selling it for $7,000. And it's a genuine moment between he and the other farmer. And then he tells Darla what he's done. And she was like, well, I don't want you selling all your stuff out from under you. Let's selling your whole life. Like, this is going to go away and you're going to get back to being the great farmer that you are. And he was like, I know. She said, I'm going to get a job. Don't worry, I'm going to get a job. And what she said earlier, when he was telling her that it wasn't hitting him as hard as he thought it would, is that maybe we can ask Charlie for money. And he was like, I'm absolutely not asking Charlie for any money. I can't keep running to Charlie. And I agree. I think if your back gets up against the wall and it's about your family eating or staying warm or having shelter, you ask. But as long as y'all can make do, whether it's cutting back, slimming down, trimming down, do that. And she says, well, now that they're talking about him not selling stuff off, she says she's going to get a job. She's going to find her a job. And I'm like, if you call Charlie for anything, you need to call her and see if she'll hire you to take minutes. Because I know they need somebody to at least transcribe the notes the conversations and stuff from their meetings. Maybe put together agendas for the next meeting, and notes and minutes for people who haven't had an opportunity to come to the meeting. Like, yeah, there's opportunity there. She can't do a lot of online stuff because they don't have the money for another computer, and Blue is using the computer for school. But it's good that she wants to get a job. And Ralph Angel said, I'm going to get a job too. I'm going to get a regular job too. If I can't be a farmer, I'm going to go and get a regular job. And she tells him about convalescent homes. They're really short-handed. They need people. And so Ralph Angel calls one in St. Joe, and he goes. And, he looks so handsome. He was so pulled together. And he sits there. Now, he references the advice that Charlie gave Darla in episode 1 or 2 about how to interview. And when the lady tells him, okay, well, your history is farming, and I know you need a paycheck, but the patients come first. Like, our residents come first. And we want to make sure that you're not just here punching a clock. And he gives her probably one of the most beautiful speeches that I have heard from a black male on a TV series in a long while. I can name a few, but Ralph Angel, I mean, it's just amazing. He tells her that his daddy was a farmer, and he swept floors and cleaned toilets and mopped and did what he had to do to feed his family. But he did it with his head up, and he did it with pride. Okay? And basically, Ralph Angel said, I'll operate under the spirit of excellence. Yes, I need a job. Yes, I need the money. I am broke right now. It's almost laughable. He said, but if I commit to do a job, I'm going to do it in the spirit of excellence. Okay? All right? I'm going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. You guys need me, and I need work, and I'm here to work. Ooh-wee. Well, I tell you, Ernest Bordelon sat up and clapped. Boom, 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 boom. He looked down from heaven and clapped, boo. Oh, yes. Ralph Angel looked so good. He spoke so well. And listen, his mouth is covered. He was giving her just such a authentic, earnest, genuine, compelling look. She felt it. It pierced her down deep down in her soul. She could feel that authenticity. And she said, can you start Monday? He said, yes, ma'am, I'll be here. And that is how the episode ends. The episode ends with Ralph Angel going home and going through the weekend and getting up Monday morning, Monday evening, and Darla's on the sewing machine. She working on something. You know what I'm saying? She's being creative too. Hopefully it's something that's going to bring money into the family as well. And he is ship shape, ready to go. He in all blue with a white long sleeve t-shirt underneath it. Ooh, child. He got on his blue collar clothing. I was like, Ralph Angel, come on now. Ooh, you talking about straddling somebody, child. She done made his lunch. He grabs his lunch, give his girl some sugar, and heads on off. And when he walks out in front of that truck to get inside and looks over all that beautiful sugar cane and that beautiful land, there is this sense of pride that just comes in this scene. And Ralph Angel is emoting pride, right? Coffee Cerebro is emoting pride, okay? But I felt proud too. I felt proud of how far Ralph Angel has come. I felt proud of black men, period. I felt proud of black people because we will always make something out of nothing. Okay? Just give us the scraps, give us the bones, and we will make it work, right? We don't want scraps, we don't want bones, right? But if that's all you got left and my family need to eat, this what we about to do. And it's just pride in all of that, in his beautiful skin, in his upright body, in his straight back, and his nappy hair that's like lamb's wool, baby. Ooh, 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 ooh. Y'all, this was a good episode. This was a good episode. I know it's 50 minutes. I get it. But I want us to talk about it. I want us to talk about the beauty and how Ava DuVernay is rolling this season out. It's not easy content to shoot, to write about, and to produce. And she does a beautiful job in this episode. A beautiful job in this episode. Each and every one of our characters are that much more loved and that much more appreciated in the midst of a pandemic. Come on now. Y'all tell me what you think. Y'all put it down below. And until next time, honeybees, I love.